So where you're from, what license you have, and what city you're in. So if you'll throw that in the chat or you can say it out loud, either way. Who's going to go first?
I'll go first. My name is Ashley and I'm in Houston.
Can't hear you. Can't hear you. You might be on mute still.
Oh. Can you hear me now?
Feel nothing. Somebody else come off. Let me make sure it's not mine.
I think it's yours because I hear.
Here we go. Talk again, Dawn.
I can hear her when she talks.
It was me. It wasn't you. It was me. All right, Ashley, go ahead.
I'm Ashley. I'm from Houston. I'm a registered nurse.
Oh, yeah. Houston, Texas in the house. So
Yes, sir.
we got family in Conroe down there.
Okay.
So which part of Houston? Are you actually in Houston or?
Actually, I'm on the outskirts. I'm in Clear Lake.
Oh, very cool. Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
And then y'all will meet Dawn here shortly. Dawn is a part of our program. Dawn, where are you at?
I'm right here.
You are in.
I'm Dawn.
What city are you in?
Copper's Cove near Colleen. Well, Fort Hood area. Most people know it by Fort Hood, but they changed it to Fort Vasos.
Fort Vasos.
Yes.
Awesome. I know we got Ruby on. Ruby, you are in Livingston. Is that over by Houston as well?
Yes, it is. About an hour out of Houston.
Hour out of Houston. Okay. Awesome. Let's see. Tanya, where are you from? Let's see if Tanya hears me. Maybe, maybe not. We'll ask her to unmute. Okay, and then we got, who is Chesapeake Express IV? They might be getting their volume still. Then we got Vanessa. Or is it Diana? Oh, yep, Vanessa, guys. Where are you from, Vanessa? And then are you, what's your license also? What city you live in and what's your license? Just throw it in the chat. Oh, too loud to speak. Got you, Tanya. Okay, Tanya's in the Denton area. Vanessa's an RN. And where are you at, Vanessa? Oh, she's in Arlington. Okay, so you're about, so I'm actually in Aledo, just outside of Fort Worth. So I'm about 45 minutes west of you, Vanessa. And then what about Diana? Where are you from? And what?
Houston area.
Oh, Houston. Okay. Well, we got lots of Houston today. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, again, let me introduce myself. My name is Brandon Jones from Premier IV Startup. And the goal today is, I know some of you are at different parts in the process. Some of you may have spoken with, I don't think I spoke with any of you. I may have, but Camila, who works on our team, might have. And you may have spoke with some other nurses in our program. So I'm going to briefly go through the program. Dawn has been with us for about 5 or 6 months. So we're going to have a live interview with Dawn to go over some of the program. And we're going to encourage some live questions from y'all. We know that each one of you are at different parts of this. You may be in the beginning just thinking about it, or you may already be in the works. You're working on your LLC, getting a few other things done. And so I think it's great to be able to ask questions. If you got something about the program to me, then of course, Dawn, who's been implementing this and rocking and roll now for between 5 to 6, a little longer than 5 to 6 months, actually. And so that you can actually ask her some questions as well. So a little bit about our program. So when you get started, it's pretty quick as far as how long from the start point, from when you sign up to when you actually get going. So I'm going to walk you through onboarding. The requirements, obviously, you're an RN nurse or higher, and you're in Texas. That's our 2 main requirements. That's the only people that we currently serve. Now, we do have options actually for non-RNs. You can't actually work in the IV business, right? But you can own the administrative side of it. So, and I'll give you a good example. Me, I am non-RN. I'm not a medical professional. I have a couple IV therapy clinics, but legally, paperwork-wise, there's a certain way that has to be set up. And it's the same thing for RN nurses, right? We have to have the proper paperwork. The areas that we've seen the most issue in when you're working through to try to get into this is going to be, the first thing is find a medical director. The second thing is going to be the proper documentation to get set up to be compliant. Third thing is going to be pharmacies. So how to get pharmacies set up. Next thing is going to be proper documentation as far as your entity. Do you need an LLC? Do I need EIN number? Those type things. Next is going to be, am I going to go brick and mortar or am I going to go mobile? Okay, that's always a big question. And then, of course, probably one of the biggest questions is going to be, how do I get business? How do I marketing, those type of things? And so there's several things, and there's more, but those are kind of some of the biggest things we run into. And then I will say one of the biggest that most people that are in this business don't know about is like, what about all the documentation I need to keep proper records? Everything from my charting to my consents, my charting to SOPs. That's one of the biggest things. I've talked to probably thousands of nurses by now. And one of the biggest things that most of them don't have is standard operating procedures for the very most basic things. And those are some of the things that are going to keep you and your license safe. Because our biggest thing at Premier IV Startup is we want to keep your license safe. We want to keep the doctor's license safe, right? And that there's going to be a lot of compliance to help that happen. And that's our biggest priority with Premier IV Startup. So when you first come on, we're going to ask you a few questions, right? To make sure you haven't gotten in trouble, make sure there's no issues with your license. Then you're going to decide on which membership you want to go with. Here in a bit, I'll go over those options just so you know. You probably already know, some of you, but just in case you don't. And then after that, it's the documentation, right? Dr. Drollinger is Dr. Jeremy Drollinger. For those of you that have not met him, don't know him. He is in the Houston and Austin area. He goes back and forth between those two areas. The great thing about Dr. Drollinger is he does IV therapy on an almost daily basis. He does aesthetics on almost daily basis. He does prescription weight loss almost on a daily basis. He is heavily involved in this industry and has lots of knowledge in it. He's a mobile doc. So he goes to people's houses. That's why he's all over Austin, all over Houston. So after you sign your documentation, next thing is we're going to verify who you are. Your nurse's license, your BLS, your driver's license. We need your last four, your social. We do all that because we got to go do our checks and make sure you're really a nurse. Okay. Now, we need you to get an LLC. Okay. Very easy to do. Honestly, 15 minutes. We have a video that shows you how to do. It's $300 through the state. Your only way you're going to find it cheaper is if you go through, you can go through a service that does it cheaper, but they're going to charge you. The reason they do it cheaper is because they charge you monthly fees. It's really easy to maintain an LLC. It takes you one time a year to go put in your how much money you made for the year, and that's it. And so it's not that hard. We show you how to do that. You want to get an EIN number? Again, we show you how to do that. Very easy. That is your social security number of your business. When you want to go open up a business bank account, you're going to have an EIN number. And so, which we do recommend that. So, all right. So after those items, moving forward, on the back end, we get you set up with all the pharmacies. We have an ordering portal when you get cleared that you're going to order through. Okay. Now, the training portal. When you get through this part, you get access to the training portal. There's classes in there for you to take. Nothing crazy. This is IV therapy. So most of it is safety things and how to do things. And so the reason we do that is every one of you should know the phrase CYA in this industry, CYA, right? We're all about that, not just for us as an organization, but for you as a nurse. And so we're always going to be implementing new things, then new forms and different things for you to sign and take care of. And we're doing that because one of our goals is we're going to be the most compliant company in this medical space. Like there is going to be no question that anybody that's a part of our program does things the right way. And as things change, we will implement to keep up with any of the changes to make sure that y'all are compliant in everything that you do. Okay. And so inside the training portal, you're also going to learn about your EMR. That's part of the program. That's called Intake Q. All your consents already done for you. That's where you do all your charting. That's how we, as in our staff, on the doctor's side, and our nurse practitioner, they'll do your chart checking and the things that they need to do on the back end. That's all through Intake Q. Okay. Now after Intake Q, and you complete all the training in the portal, the next step from there is going to be getting cleared by the pharmacy. That takes 7 to 10 business days on average, sometimes faster, but on average, that's about how long it takes. So within those first 2 weeks on our side of things, you should pretty much be done. If you're on the ball, you're getting your training done, and it's not hours upon hours of training. These are smaller videos because this is basic stuff like how to store your vitamins, like how to do IVs, how to pull the meds, those type things. So you get all the way done. We're 2 weeks in. The things that we're going to recommend that you do on your own, and we do a lot of training in our group. So if you did not see it, I did put our group link. I'm going to put it in there again. Make sure you're in our group. We do put a lot of great stuff in there. Some of you may already be in it. But the things that are going to be important on your side, and I want you all to remember this phrase, and Dawn's going to speak upon this here in a minute with her business, because I know she does a good job of this, but it's market or die. And that's business in general, right? I'm going to pick on Trisha real quick. No, Ashley. I'm going to pick on Ashley. So if Ashley went right now and she opened up her clinic today, if I could just snap my fingers and she's ready, she's open, she's got her inventory, she's got her insurance. That was the other thing I left out. You do need liability malpractice insurance. CMF Group is the best one we've found that covers all the services. That's really affordable. As an RN nurse, you're looking at on average about $600 to $800 for a year, part-time. Full-time is, I think I'm a little bit high, but full-time is about double that. And so I put a video inside of our group showing you exactly how to do that. I'll repost that for everybody that if you want to see it, but cmfgroup.com. And this is all in our ebook. I'll post this in the chat here in a minute as well. But they have been really great. And so, but okay, so I'm going back to Ashley here. She snapped my fingers, opened my clinic. You know how many people she's going to get in tomorrow? Probably 0, unless she texts somebody. She'll probably get her best friend to come in. She may get a family member, like barely anybody, right? It's because nobody knows. Nobody knows what she's doing yet. My favorite thing to tell nurses when they're thinking about this business, like, I don't care if you're 1 week away from starting with us, 1 day away, or 3 months away. Like, you need to create your social medias, right? You need to get those started. You need to start letting everybody know what you're doing. Get them excited. Hey, I'm bringing IV therapy for me to the Lido area. Hey, I'm so excited to be bringing IV therapy, prescription weight loss, vitamin injections, NAD therapy to the Alito area. Then you want to start getting people on your email list, like start getting their contacts. Because if I got every one of you, what do we got? I don't know, eight, 9 people in the group. If I got every one of you at the minimum on a list, and I know you're all interested in my service, I'm starting in 2 weeks, I already have business. That's huge. You want to start out with business, not start out and be like, okay, now how do I go find business? So even those first 2 weeks, make sure when y'all get in our group, I did a Zoom or a YouTube video about my first 7 days, what I would do when opening a IV therapy business. It'll give you a lot of insight on things to look for, to do yourself. Because remember, nobody's going to do this for you. Okay. You have to be willing to promote your business. You can't be uncomfortable being on video. You can't be uncomfortable talking to people. Because at the end of the day, we're trying to what? Help people. Because we know that hydration is very important for so many things in the body. We know that vitamins are very important. And then we know that prescription weight loss can help a lot of people who have struggled for years and years and years with weight issues. And so I tell you all that to say that's so important. Like, we're going to get you compliant. That part for us is easy. We got it figured out to a science. But for y'all to have a successful business, you have to get outside your comfort zone. You have to really push what you do. Okay. So before I bring Dawn on, I want to see if anybody has any questions. And while you, if you want to come off mute, if you want to throw them in the chat, I'll answer those. And then I'm going to throw the ebook real quick into the chat. So if you have not seen the ebook, you can have a copy of it. So if anybody has a question, now's a good time. Anybody? Everybody's going to be quiet. Let me pick on it. I like picking on Ashley. Ashley, what do you got? Tell me this, Ashley. Tell me something. What has been your hurdle, or where are you at in this process? Give us a little snippet.
Just trying to figure out how to unmute. I've been thinking about it for a while, and I know it's something I want to do. So I've actually been telling people for about 6 months, hey, I'm going to be doing this, kind of trying to get people excited. I don't know what I don't know, which is why I decided to jump on this chat. So I don't really know the questions that I want to ask, other than I'm interested in IV therapy for sure, which I know how to start IVs and how to do all of that. But I'm also interested in like cosmetic injections.
Okay.
And that's something that I'm just starting to research, but I was just wanted to see what you guys all had to say in the chat.
Awesome. Well, that's great. So a couple comments to that. So on the aesthetic side, so our membership, we have a couple different tiers to membership. So on the aesthetic side for nurses in Texas in general, you have to have some type of training that your medical director approves when it comes to aesthetics. So like our medical director does aesthetic classes. We just did one in Dallas here about 3 weeks ago. There's great ones out there, like the Laser Institute. They do one. The main thing that our doctor looks for, number one, if you already have a certificate, he wants to view them to make sure they're a reputable company, so that he can approve or disapprove that. Like if I can tell you, if it's a 1-day speed through it type company, he's going to say, nah, you need to go get a reputable class, because he prefers like a 2-day class just for the neurotoxin and a 2-day class for fillers as well, just because we're poking in people's face, right? That's a lot. And so, but yeah, that is definitely, we have several people in our program. Dawn has been through Dr. Dollinger's class, and I know she does it. And so, but yes, aesthetics. Now, and I will show you all here this in a minute. There's a great potential, not just on the IV side, like an average IV through our program, when you look at the mixes here in a second, and it's in the ebook, but you're looking at your costs being anywhere from $10 up to $60. And the $60 is everything bag for an IV. That's your cost. That's everything. And so you think about that when you see what people charge for IVs, right? I mean, you're charging 150, 200, 250, 300, depending on your area. There's a big upside potential there. And so you don't need to make 1 million sales to make money in this business. And so, but yeah, no, that's great. Let me pick on one more person. Who wants to come off and let me pick? We're going to ask the same question. Then we're going to let Dawn talk for a few. Same question. So just, who is that? Is it Marcella? Did I say that right? She's smiling. I must have said it right.
Yes,
Okay.
you said it correctly.
Okay. How are you, Marcella?
I'm doing just fine, sir. How about yourself?
I am great. So what city are you in?
Well, I've always just liked doing IVs. I'm kind of everywhere in nursing. I've been nurse for 20 years, so I've done a lot of travel nursing, DON, everything, but to be honest, I'm just tired and overworked, and I'm trying to, I was honestly just looking, hey, how is it that I could get, extra income? And something fast besides what my full-time job, to be honest. And then I also have I'm in the process of getting my certification for personal trainer. So I'm like, okay, that's another thing, IV hydration. I'm around people that that are going to need some type of vitamins and hydration. So that's where it led me. I've had this actually on my mind for a while, because I also actually a year ago I wanted to go to do my classes to be a certified PIC nurse.
Okay.
Because I've always just had interest in that IVs. And so I saw this the other day whenever I was going through my Facebook, and I was like, hey, let's give it a try. Let me hear him out. Let me see what's out there. Is this something that could be good for me to add on? So
Awesome. Yeah, that's good. And we find we actually, you kind of described it very well. There's a lot of nurses who are burned out. Like y'all been through the ringer, with just in general, y'all work long hours. Y'all, this whole COVID thing that happened, I mean, that was stressful. And there's just been a lot put on nurses, and you want to change up. A lot of our nurses, so I have 2 locations. I have one in Amarillo, Texas, and I have one in Weatherford, Texas. A lot of our nurses that come to us, they see us as their fun job, right? It's less stress. You know what I mean? You're not in an ER situation, or, and not just like physically, but emotionally stressful, but you're getting to be around more clients that are like, they're happy to see you. You're going to have your sick clients, or your clients that don't feel good, but it's a better situation too when you can do that, right? Because then you have more job satisfaction, and then you can control your schedule. And so there's many benefits. Now, I won't sugarcoat it and say that it's not hard work, right? I want everybody to understand that I don't care what business you do, there's always going to take hard work, and you got to have the willingness to put that hard work in to be successful. But it can be done. I can tell you that. It can definitely be done. And we've had lots of nurses that have done it and are still doing it. And both of my locations are still rocking it. And we do a lot of training and different things at those locations. So, and in what city were you in, Marcella?
I'm in Clarence City. It's an hour away from San Antonio.
Oh, okay, awesome. So you're which way? Which direction from San Antonio?
South,
South.
down south.
Okay, got you. Awesome. So, okay. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to bring Dawn, who's in here. And so, Dawn, if you want to tell them a little bit about you, if y'all came on a little bit later, Dawn has been with us for almost 6 months now, and she's doing great over there. And so I wanted her to just come on, talk a little bit about her getting started in our process, but then also just in general talking about being in the business and how she's doing and how she's been in each one of your seats before and what went through her mind and how she is where she is now. So go ahead, Dawn.
Thank you, Brandon. I'm Dawn. I'm actually in the Fort Hood area. I've actually started the process not with Premier, with another company prior to here. And that was, I want to say, I was travel nursing. I started working on like a business plan and what I wanted to do while I was doing the travel nursing, trying to get it like my website, all the little pieces together. That was September of last year. I didn't roll out until I got back, and it was right before Christmas. And of course, Christmas was probably not the greatest time to roll out a new business. But I was like, oh, it's okay, it's okay. I was with the other company. There was some compliance issues that I didn't like, and ultimately, it's my license at the end of the day. So that's when I found Premier. I was looking for a company that was local and not bigger company, somebody that's, I mean, I never even met the medical director on the other company. So this one he called, he said he welcomed me to Premier, talked to me. He's always there to answer my call. And I even, I met him when I did the aesthetics classes too. So fast forward, I've been with this company for 6 months. I started with just being mobile. We were, going blasting on Facebook, Instagram, doing events, anything that I could do that was local, I would make sure that I signed up for. But we always had people that were like, hey, where are you going to be? Are you going to be set up this location? Because we'll see you then. So we actually started incorporating our trailer, because when I was travel nursing, that's what I was living in. So I incorporated the trailer, and I would be set up at different spots. And I would just like blast down Facebook, Instagram, like social media. Hey, we're going to be set up this time, this day. And people just started following us. And it just got to be so busy. They were like, what do you think? Let's do the brick and mortar. So then we opened up the brick and mortar in June, and we've been doing great since then. We have all our repeat clients. I have my own website. I'm sure that Brandon can share my website. More than welcome to check out my website and see how to lay it out, and constantly changing it. Just, you learn from things, in the beginning, it's a learning curve. You learn what works and what doesn't work. As far as like, I'm a technical person. I didn't want to dish out the money to pay somebody to do my website. So I did the website. And if you see when it first started versus now, it's changed a whole lot. I've been corporative, now I have tier plans, where monthly plans that it automatically deducts from clients' accounts. They set up, they get 2 IVs a month, and automatically deducts from their account. So I've learned little things here and there with it. As far as finding people, just getting out there, doing events. Make sure that you're posting online, is like on social media, is the biggest thing, like engaging with people. Because I can tell you, because I can see the analytics on my website, when I don't post anything, it's like crickets. And then as soon as like I put something out there on social media, it's like we see all of a sudden we get all these hits on our website. So it's really important to be engaged with everybody. Also send out emails, text messages, just saying, hey, this is our specials. I do specials every month. I also started doing the live videos. First I was recording myself, but then I was like, because it was kind of a pain, because it had to be a certain amount of time, or it was too long. And so I got frustrated with that. So then I just started doing live videos. It's actually pretty funny sometimes. What else can I tell you? Currently I am doing IVs. I do the neuromodulators. I did the class with Dr. G. And I also started doing the weight loss, and the weight loss has been really good too. Does anybody have any questions for me, or kind of like want to know anything else?
When you say you did the weight loss, is it like oh man, my question just like went off.
So it's for the semaglutide and then the
Okay.
tirzepatide,
I'm sorry, because you said you started doing the weight loss. Is that like an extra?
incorporating that.
Okay, is it like a class or anything extra that we have to? No, okay, it's just the
No.
the medication.
And you just say the thing with that is you have to do, the client has to have the GFB. What I do is if anybody's interested, I send them out the intake form, and then I look at their intake form, basically, okay, let's go ahead into the next step, which is the good faith exam. Do the good faith exam, then they come in, they meet with me, and we go over everything. What's your side effects? What to expect? How much weight do you want to lose? Like goals for that person. So it's just not like, here's your shot. And then I actually weigh them, check all their vitals, and they do it for a month. I have some clients that are like, I can't give myself the needle, so they come to me and I still give them their injection. And then after a month, we follow up. We kind of look at their vitals, because most of them are going to be overweight. They're going to have the hypertension, the hypercholesterol. So I want to make sure that, as they're losing weight, I'm not bottoming out their blood pressure too. So, and following up with that. So we do that every month. And I mean, they're like loving it. I mean, it's been wonderful for some, but also the one thing I can say about me is I'm honest. I've had clients come in, their BMI is 28, like a male, and he's like, I want to try it because I have this just little bit of weight here. Sir, you don't need that. As much as you want to give me your money, I'm going to be honest with you. Fat burner, let's try the fat burner, see how that goes. Try that for a month. Like I pride myself on being honest with them. You know what I mean? That's for me is the biggest thing, and that's why people will be like, no, she'll be straight up with you. You don't need that. So that's my biggest thing with that.
That's good,
So we
honesty.
try other options.
You've been a good advocate. I like that.
And then we also have the IV blends that have the weight loss too. That's, if they're looking for a jump start, kind of just like, I don't know where to go. We kind of go in that direction. Because, the semaglutide, that's a commitment there, with it. And there's, some side effects that go along with it that not a lot of people can handle too. So, but it's really like, I just educate on, what's about the fat burners, about the semaglutide, the tirzepatide, the different types of, what we offer in our Myers cocktail, the glutathione, the NAD, and a lot of those videos are going to be in your training too, which is really good because it'll educate you on the NAD and the glutathione. And then I also have to say, they have protocols in place for everything. I've grown so much that I actually have nurses that work under me that I've hired on. And for them, everything is laid out so they can see exactly what it is that they need to give. So, a client comes in, wants a Myers cocktail. It tells you exactly everything. What gets IV pushed, what goes in the bag, what, how fast your drip should be, what your contraindications are, it has all of that information. So it's like, it's right there. And what I do is I actually have like a binder so that, they can always look at that too. And there's even protocols on the semaglutide, tirzepatide, all of that.
So this is just to show you all
really
a little
simple.
bit of an example. Yeah. Now this is just one of our very basic bags, but I think to speak upon Don's point there is the only thing that makes this work is if we have compliance. The protocols leave no question for how things can be done, right? And this is, make sure y'all get this out of the chat, just so y'all know. The protocols on how things can be done, what can be put in there. And I mean, anything outside of those protocols is not allowed. right? If it's outside the protocols, you better be calling the doctor, right? Or going to the MP to get approval. It's pretty straightforward. And so to Don's point, our goal is to make things very black and white, because we all know in medical that sometimes it's gray. And so we're trying to get as black and white as possible. And we'll be the first to say that there's been changes we've made based upon opinions from nurses. And there's been some protocols we've added based upon opinions of in research, more so research of nurses, right? Of hey, I've done this in the past was great, or we've done this at this company was great. So, but anyways, go ahead, Don. Does somebody else have a good question? That was a good question. Anybody else have a good question for Don?
And I would just add that it's the biggest thing is making sure that you're in compliance. Like that was one of the reasons that it drew me toward Premier was their compliance, that they're in this state, everything checked. It's checkbox, everything's good. And like Dr. D, if I have an issue right now, I can call him and he'll answer that phone. Like he is always there when I need him. So that to me was like spoke words. You know, it's like you don't have to text somebody, or you can only do it between these hours. If I got a question with Dr. D, he answers. He's always there. And I saw somebody else's question popped out. What was that?
Let's see.
The sharks containers. So about the sharks containers, I'm at that point right now where I'm gonna have to set up with this dairy company. So I've got the bigger ones and they're full. So now I'm gonna have to set up a company, and I've called around, and basically it's you could set it how often they come out to pick up, but the first initial cost I thought that was like 100. I can't remember, but yeah, that was where I was like, sharks containers. So my sharks are now getting full, so now I need to I'm like, okay, it's time to get rid of them now.
That's
especially when I started doing it. Yes, I'm like, oh, my sharks are full, yay.
So yeah, and we actually use two different services, one for each location because they're in different areas. But yeah, ours come every quarter. So we have a big sharps container. They come every quarter. They take that one, they give you a new one. There's lots of different options. Yeah, you want to have that problem. That's a good problem to have. So, okay, keep them coming. Like one of the reasons we like doing this, and I wanted to bring Dawn on here because she's been exactly where each one of you are. She was at that initial phase of she's planning it out. She's trying to decide what to move. Some of you are at that point where maybe you've looked at research and, you know, there's a question mark for you. You're like, well, I don't know how to do this part. Well, I don't know how to do that part. Like our goal, a part of our onboarding process was to do all that, streamline it, make it easy for you. We've already done the research. We've already done the work for you. So that part's done. So the next, for most people, it's like, okay, it's the scare factor. I'm doing something outside my comfort zone. Like that's big for a lot of people because you stay in your normal comfort zone. You know, hey, I work for nurses, it's more like probably 12, 13 hours. Some of you probably maybe have an 8 to 9 hour day. So you're like, I'm in my comfort zone. This is what I know. We all know that if we don't get outside of our comfort zone, there's no growth. Like we'll stay here. This is where we stay. So in order to come outside of that, you have to make a change. And I'll give you a little story about me real quick. I love business. I wasn't always in business. I worked for a nuclear arms facility in Amarillo, Texas. I was in security. I worked almost 13-hour shifts. I did a month of days, a month of nights. So I know the nurse schedule, and I feel some of y'all that have worked that type of schedule. And so that was my job. I did that, and I had this bright idea. I loved health and fitness. I was like, man, I want to get into health and fitness, have my own gym. So I started my own gym. I went out to work out there in 2007. I started my own gym in 2013. And so my wife finally just said, hey, I'm tired of you talking about it. Just do it. And so I started my gym. My first couple years, like it was a hobby. I wasn't making much money. You know, I made a lot of friends and I was just kind of getting into it. But I was still working crazy hours. I had 2 young children. And then I was doing this on the side, trying to decide, is this what I'm going to do? I finally got serious about it. And I started putting everything into it and working hard. It was 2017. I was making right around $100,000 a year at this job. I left it to do my gym full time. So I took that leap of faith. And it was so scary. I'm not going to lie. Right. I'm stepping outside my comfort zone. I did have no more insurance after that. And so I went and did it. Greatest decision I ever made. Scariest decision I ever made. Right. I learned a lot by doing that. Okay. That same year, learned about IV therapy, opened up an IV therapy company. And then, I was doing the gym at the same time, doing the IV therapy company at the same time. I really started pouring in because I love this wellness health scene. So I really started pouring into my staff because obviously I'm non-medical. I can't do what y'all can do, right? I can do all the non-medical side of things and then find great people to do the medical side of things. So that's what I did. And it's been great. Like, we've grown, we have 2 locations that are really successful. And off of that, I've branched off this business to be able to help others in this business. But it would never happen if I stepped outside of my comfort zone. Was it always perfect? No. At one point, over 3 months, I lost 99% of my staff, and my sales went from 60 to 70,000 a month down to like 20 to 30,000 a month. Like, major change. And I learned a lot through that, right? The thing is, we're going to have ups and downs when we do business, and it's all about learning. And so making sure that those ups and downs, we're still going up. So we're improving. Okay. That all happened. Got back in, worked hard, got great staff in, and now everything is great. We're continuing to grow. We're continuing to help other nurses in this area. But I say all that to tell you that would have never happened if I wouldn't have took a chance and got out of my comfort zone. I'd still be there with all those old guys that have been there for 20 plus years, 20, 30 years. I wouldn't be that long yet. I'm not that old, but I would still be there. So if you have a question in your mind right now, Dawn's still with us. So if you want to ask Dawn a question, she's got a lot of great experience. If you want to ask me a question, I have a lot of great experience.
And I will say,
go ahead, Dawn.
too, also that, I'm still working, I work 36 hours a week, and I wanted to build up my business because I was at that point where I remember telling Brandon, I'm like, I'm scared, I can't do it yet. I can't make the leap, but now we're actually looking at getting a bigger facility because we've outgrown the space that we're in. So we're already looking around for, hopefully by the first of the year, we open up a bigger location, just because it's just too tight because how busy we've been. So if you're, on the fence about it, try it, jump in, you can do this, your side hustle, as I call it. My side hustle is now my full-time hustle. So you could do it. It's doing it on the side. It seems scary, but once you get in there, you're like, okay, I got this. And just, I partner with CrossFit Gym. I partner with the cryotherapy on Post. We go out there, we set up once a month with them, and just anytime they have events, we're out there giving away, B12, any of the runs that are in the area. We set up all the runs. We actually sponsor some of them too. So
I know why that's so important. Remember when I talked about market or die? What Dawn is doing is she's taking her brand and she's getting in front of people, right? She's saying, hey, get to know me. Let me educate you. So she's doing a great job of getting herself out there. And then we've talked about this, and then getting their contacts to put them in her CRM so she can remarket these people. It's just like all of you. Some of you have been getting emails from me. Some of you have been getting texts from me, right? I have you in my CRM because you've showed interest in this. And I want to keep marketing to you to show you how you can do this, right? It's the same concept. Marcella, what do you got?
Yes, question on financials. Like, since I'm having interest in this, and let's just say I want to go full force with this financially. Where should I be amount wise to be able to start this, as in, to getting the proper, the amount of money for the IV usage or for the tubing and all that? Where am I at on that aspect?
Yep, great question. So I'm going to kind of scroll through this, and I'm going to answer your question by going through here. And then I'm also going to go over pricing just so y'all can see all that. So obviously, this is Dr. Jeremy Drollinger. You all have this ebook, so you can look at this, you can read through it. Here's his website, some different things about him. Again, I told you I had 2 locations. Dr. Drollinger is my medical director for both. You can check those out. My website, premieriv.com. I'm going to put that in the chat. I think I have not yet. Let me see. Let me put that in there so you have it. Again, it's in the ebook. Okay, kind of come through here. This is kind of, I've gone through this, so I don't want to go bore you and go verbatim through all this stuff. This is just what we do. So you can read through this, but I really want to get down here. So you can see these are, it does not have the amounts, but these are our IVs. These are what we currently have, and that's what's in them. And, you know, some of our protocols, we have protocols for all these, for all of our injections, everything that we do. Some of you does anybody know what 797 is? Anybody? No? Okay, so just to show you that we do our due diligence and we are staying on top of compliance. 7-on-7 is a new, it's been out for a while, but essentially what they're trying to say is, hey, you can't have more than 3 items in an IV bag, 3 vitamins. And so now that doesn't mean you can't push other items. That just means in the actual bag. So we already have our protocols written for that. Even though it came out as it's coming out as a guideline. Now, when items come out as a guideline, each state has to come back and accept that, or say, hey, this is what Texas is going to do. And so Texas hasn't come out and said what they're going to do, but just to be compliant with that, we already have our stuff fixed up to where it's going to be compliant with that. Just that's where our mind is with compliance. We want to make sure that some things may be the extra mile, but if something ever happens, would you rather say, hey, I want the extra mile to cover my ass? Or would you be like, oh, damn, I didn't do any of this. My ass is fried, right? Because we know that your license and the doctor's license is the most important thing within what you both do. So, but you can peek through this. Now, example of a protocol, you can check that out. This is actual now. This can fluctuate based on pharmacies, but you can go through here. This is like a vial. You can see the vial size here. You can see the units, all that. So, and I'm gonna go into more detail on cost, but what I really want you to see initially is this right here. So when you're looking at how much an IV bag costs you, that's what this is. Now, this includes all that stuff at the bottom. Now, of course, we have it broken down per piece. Now, like when you buy gloves or you buy alcohol preps, you're not going to buy it per piece. You're going to buy a box of them. But to kind of give you some ideas on pricing, we have different packages when it comes to your inventory. Now, you can buy individual stuff if you want. You can buy, hey, I'm going to get one bag of, I think it's a box of 12 with fluids. I'm going to get one vial of this, one vial of that. We have packages where you get a little bit of discounts if you want to buy stuff in packages. And it really depends on where you're at. So when I give people baseline numbers, which I'll do here in a second, to kind of give you an estimate at what it looks like whenever you start. And so, again, this is all in that ebook. Here's kind of the average profit margin on different things. Injections, your cost $2 to $3 injection. You're typically going to charge here. Same thing, IVs, average there. That's typically where you're going to charge in those ranges. Your location is dependent on that. I tell everyone, do some research around your area. You never go below. Never go below. You always go at and above. Okay? Remember that with your prices. Okay? And then again, these are the videos that we show you how to do. Very simple. 15 minutes to your LLC. EIN is about 5 minutes. There's that insurance I was telling you about. Anyways, you can check this out. This has since changed. We no longer use Spa Connect. We use a company called Qualify. So they do your good faith exams. They're a group of nurse practitioners that do them, and they're actually cheaper. They're $28. So just to edit there. Okay, you can look through this other stuff. We do on-site training as well. I'm going to talk about that here in a minute because we have a special for anybody that does want to move forward. But anyways, I don't want to go through any more of this. What I want to show you now, so I can answer Marcella's question, is let me pull up our price sheet, and then I will go through that with you. All right. Okay. Before I do that, let me answer Diana's question. So why should you never go below with prices? Now, number one, because when you discount, now there's places to discount. When you start really low below everyone else, you're saying your value's lower. You don't want that. It's different if you're running specials or discounts. Because me as a consumer, if I see somebody an IV that is normally 185, but maybe I'm getting it on a special for 155, I know that price is really 185 and I'm getting a special. If this price is at 155 already, like that, the value of it's 155. Even if I see another company, their IV therapy for Myers cocktail is 185, like I instantly am going to put that here. The value of it's here. Now, yeah, if it's 285 or 300, that's a little bit different. But people perceive value with price. And if you start out really cheap, as soon as you go later on down the road, when you really need to bump your prices up, it's a lot harder to bump your prices up. It's a lot easier if you're up higher to bring them down a little bit or bring them down with discounts. So running discounts and specials are great. True story, you can offer discounts. Yes, Don's right. So it's way better to have higher prices because your value is perceived to be more, and then run discounts off that. Just like Don does, we do a monthly IV special and a monthly injection special. And we do that for multiple reasons. Number one, you might have inventory you need to get rid of. Because as you probably already know, those vials, when you pierce the top, you have 28 to 30 days on average before you have to throw it out. And so, but no, good question there. Okay, let me find this. Anybody else that has another question? If you want to throw it in the chat while I pull this up. Don, you got anything else to add?
I don't think so. I think that you kind of covered everything as far as, yeah. You know, when I first started, I know that the expense was the thing, like how much money am I going to spend? But the group package is really makes it a lot easier because it has everything you need to start off.
Okay. So I'm going to go over this, and then Marcella, then I'll give you kind of an overview of numbers so everybody can hear that, what I typically tell everybody when they're starting. Okay. So when you look here, so we have kind of multi-tiers on our membership. If when you start, you're like, hey, I just want to do IV therapy and injections and NAD therapy. So vitamin injections, NAD therapy, and IV therapy. That's our base membership. That's $6.99. We have a 3% fee that is on all memberships. And so plus that 3% fee. That would be your monthly membership cost. Okay. If you want to add on prescription weight loss to that, which I highly recommend because it is killer right now, just like Don was saying, just to kind of give you some numbers, we sell it for $450 a month or $1,250 for 3 months. And that's just like our base packages. There's so much more you can do with it. You can package it with IVs and different things. We even have a package that's $2,000 for 3 months where you package it with IVs, because we all know that they're going to need IVs. They're going to need vitamins because they're already eating less. And so now we do have some clients that are like, look, I don't really care about IVs. I just want to do the aesthetics side of it. And that's the $9.99 a month. That's all that includes is aesthetics only. And then we have our everything membership. That's the $12.99. That's IV therapy, injections, prescription weight loss, all of it. NAD therapies, of course, in there as well. That's the everything. Now, bottom left, you see the add-ons. This is where you get to where Don's at, and you're like, hey, I want to add somebody underneath me because I'm so busy. I need help. So that $150 is just an RN nurse that wants to do the IV therapy and injections. How you pay them is totally up to you. Remember, we don't take any percentage of your sales or nothing like that. We have set monthly fees, and then you order your inventory through our portal. If you bring on somebody, like your name is up to you, your payment processing you use up to you, your scheduling system is up to you. We give you recommendations, but ultimately you get to make those decisions. When you bring somebody on underneath you, they do have to go through the onboarding just like you did. Now, they can be a separate shipping location if they're within 30 miles of your location. You can't be in San Antonio and then have somebody in Dallas and say they're on your team. That doesn't work. That's two different locations. But if they're within 30 miles of you and you want to give them the ability to have stuff shipped to them, you can do that. And then if they're going to be an aesthetics nurse underneath your program, it's $350. Because again, on the aesthetic side of things, there's more liability because now you're poking in people's face. Okay. So if you got a pen and paper, I'm gonna tell you some numbers here so you can kind of get a good estimate of when you first start out for numbers. Okay. So you can already see there your membership numbers, depending on where you'd be at. I always tell everybody use 1,000 as a good number because I say if you're going to start out, you might as well do the prescription weight loss and you're going to be about at 1,000. Okay. From there, your insurance. If you're going to be doing this part-time, if you use the CMF group, like I'm telling you, I'm Dawn, you might remember, you might be with a different one. I think it was between 600 and 800 a year for part-time.
I'm with CMF too.
You are?
That's yes, yeah. I ended up signing up with them.
Okay.
I think I
right?
do the monthly, so my monthly is like 130 maybe. But
Yeah.
remember, I'm covering everybody.
Yeah, you're covering
my
it. That's why.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But it
That's
should
why mine's
be,
high.
yeah, it should be closer. Even that's not that bad. I mean, you're probably close to $2,000 for the year. So you're looking at about 600 to 800 part-time. You're looking at probably like more 12 to 1,300, 1,400 full-time. So depending on which one of that, so you can add that to your numbers. When you look at inventory, okay, here's my advice on inventory. If you're going to be starting and you already have lots of clients waiting, do what Don said and do one of the bigger packages. If not, do one of the smaller packages so you don't have things that expire. Smaller packages, you're looking at the 500 to 700 range. Bigger package, you're looking at the, I think it's $1,500, $1,600 range. Okay. Everybody got that? Now, you got to think about what you got, Ruby.
Sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. You're good. Okay. So, and then think about a couple of things after that. IV poles, having a couple IV poles, blood pressure cuffs, pulse ox. I mean, so always throw a couple $100 extra on there. Now, if you're going to do a location, you're going to have a little bit more expenses depending on what you're doing for that location. Chairs, there's some great chairs for, I think they're how much were they done? Like $250? I think you got the same ones I did.
Yeah, I got them off of Amazon actually.
Amazon. Yeah, that's where I got mine. They have some great chairs on it. And so other than that, as far as cost goes, Don, you got anything else to throw on there?
Sorry, my dog. I was like,
Are you good? You good?
no, I think that's about, don't go overboard with ordering because like you said, they will go bad. So in the beginning, if you're just starting off, just offer a few that you think that would, most people, my biggest seller is my Myers because it's a little bit of everything. Because and then your B12 shots, they'll be your biggest sellers.
Yeah. So what I would say is, and I would even tell you that when you initially start, don't even start with the Myers, just because like Don said, there's 6 ingredients in there. Pick some of there's a couple of our packages that have just like 3 IVs, but they all share most of the same ingredients. So you're going to be building some business using that one, getting the B12 or super B12. The skinny injections are great. And then you have your prices.
The fat burner.
Here. Yeah, the fat burner one. You have your prices here, but initially you're going to be doing discounts and stuff because you want people to try them. You want to educate them. You want to give them, like I'll give injections out like candy because you want to get people in the door, educate them, let them see what you're doing, and then turn them into clients. Okay. So, but that's it as far as the pricing and stuff goes. It's not, to get in this business the way we've made it is not insane. It's really not. Like the place where you're going to be the most successful is going to be what I talked about earlier and what Don talked about is the marketing, getting out in front of people and telling everybody and their dog what you're doing. That's how you build business. And then you're going to want to get some type of a CRM, which is a customer relations management, or you're going to want to obviously get a scheduling system. Whether you use Square, which there's another expense, right? $20-25 a month, I think Square. It may be a little bit more expensive. They have different systems you can use as well. The main things you're going to need is payment processor, a scheduling system, and then you're going to want some type of a CRM. Fresha is another good option. They do scheduling and they're almost a full CRM. They don't have two-way texting, but they have all the automations and reminders and stuff. And so, did I get that all answered, Marcella? Okay, cool. Okay, so anybody else have questions on anything with pricing You can see there where our prices are. The last thing I will say is we do a 3-month contract with a 45-day cancellation notice. So after the 3 months, anytime you want to cancel, it's 45. You give us a notice, it's 45 days. Other than that, I mean, if you have any other questions, the only other cost you're going to have, I will say about this, good faith exams, we are about to be requiring them on every first client. We're in the process of finishing the documentation now for that. And again, this is another way of covering your license, right? Because if let's lay it out. If for some reason a nurse practitioner or higher approved you to give somebody an IV, okay? If for some reason that person should not have been approved, who do you think it's going to fall back to? The nurse practitioner, then the doctor, right? Because you were directed that it's okay to do that. And so we're continuing to put more things into play that are going to help you stay compliant and stay safe in this industry. And so it's just like prescription weight loss. Every one of your clients have to have a good faith exam, and per the doctor's protocols, they're only good for 4 months. After 4 months, they got to have another one, right? To get them re-cleared to do it longer. And so as far as anything else financial, does anybody have any other questions about any of that or any of the other onboarding or anything totally separate? Now's kind of the open. I'm gonna look in the chat. Now's kind of the open time. Oh, awesome. Dawn put her website in there. Make sure y'all check that out. Okay. Do we pay for those good faith exams? So yes, you or your client. So I typically say, tell you to have your client pay, unless you have a big package deal. Because now those good faith exams for your basic injection or IV therapy, which you get them cleared on that together, it's 1 per year. Unless they have any major medical changes, obviously, y'all all know that. And so 1 per year. And then the prescription weight loss, they're cleared typically for 4 months at a time. We also have it set up where you can actually ship it directly to their house. So you put the order in, and then you do their good faith exam, you put the order in after they get cleared, and then it can actually ship directly to their house. Ruby, got you. I'll follow up with you, Ruby. Diana, yes, you are an NP, I'm assuming, from that question.
Yes, I am.
Yes. So as an NP, obviously, yes, you can do. So Dawn is this close. She's about to be an NP. And so it'd be the same thing for her, which is a very big benefit for you both. It's because when you're an NP, you can do your own. And that just makes it an easier process when you're doing any of this stuff where they have to get cleared with a good faith exam. Good question. Who else? What else we got? Anybody?
So I have a question. How
ma'am.
much access do we have to the medical director for questions, for clarification?
Okay, so most everything is going to be all in the protocols. Once you get through your initial training, you have a Zoom call with one of our success coordinators. They go back through everything again because you're going to have more questions. Because it's like, I'm giving you all this information, you're going to go through it, and you're like, I have questions. Okay. We have a communication portal inside of your ordering portal where you can always ask questions. Depending on the level of the question, depends on how fast, like if it needs to go straight to the doctor or NP. Most things our head nurse or NP can answer. Like if it's a protocol question, they're going to be able to tell you pretty quick. If it's like outside the protocol question, if the NP can make the determination, she will, which there's not a lot to go outside of our protocols most of the time. I mean, if they shouldn't have an IV, then they shouldn't have an IV, period. But if it's something that needs to go up to the doctor, it's either a phone call, like everybody will have his number. Like he calls everybody when they come on to do a welcoming call. He wants you to know him. You do need to have his number just in case of an emergency. But also we all, just to throw a disclaimer in there, we know we call 911 if there's an emergency. The doctor,
Right.
the next call. But yeah, so just like Dawn said earlier, she's talked to the doctor multiple times. If you ever have suggestions of like something you want to add, I'm going to tell you, hey, shoot the email to him, right? Let's do it that way. But yeah, we don't want, like, he has to have 24/7 access. His wife is actually also a doctor, so she's his backup. And then of course, like I said, we have an NP as well, who we just recently brought on that's helping out with a lot of different things as well. And so What else? I know somebody else has questions. I appreciate the questions. Those are good. We got to get the questions out. If you get off this call and you have questions, well, yes, you can send them to me, but ask them now, because if you're thinking it, somebody else is thinking it. So,
Okay, one more, not to dominate the conversation, and this might be a little crazy. I just want to make sure I'm following along. Okay, we are going to be Premier IV staff, or we are going to be our own entity and we're just getting a medical director and access to medications from you guys. Can you clarify that?
Yes, I love that question. So you're not going to be under Premier IV. You're going to be under your own name. And this is so great. I'm so glad you sent me this. So I'm about to put this into the chat. This is from our medical, because we get this question all the time. I said, dude, I need the proper response to this question, because I get questions all the time about this and about the corporate practice of medicine and how we can do this. So I have from my lawyers, straight from him, and I'm going to put it in here and I'm going to read it for y'all. So, all right. That was a great question. I'm glad you asked that. Let me pull this up here. All right.
So this is very different from other IV companies that advertise online, like on social media, like IV Society and Lone Star. There's just so many. You're actually an employee of them. This is where we're starting our own.
Correct. But there's rules there.
Great.
Correct. So I'm putting this in the chat here. And that's a big part of our model. Our model was to be able to allow you to keep more. That's all. We don't want to take a percent or anything like that. And maybe you know this, maybe you don't. If you work under a doctor directly, you can't give him a percentage. That's illegal. It's called fee splitting. So so my goal within these is I want to give you stuff to take with you. Like if you go underneath us, awesome. Like we're going to help you. You're going to do great. If you don't, that's okay. You better have the correct documents, keep you compliant. You better have SOPs. That's the biggest thing. You better have protocols. You need to make sure all this stuff is constantly updated and you're checking everything within for updates and things. Those are so important to keep your license safe, because we all saw probably what happened in Frisco not that long ago. Did y'all see that? Look it up if you didn't. Somebody died because of IV therapy, and the medical director is in big trouble right now. Okay, so I'm putting this in the chat. It's rather long. Oh, it's saying it's too long. Okay, I'm going to put on a document and then I'll just share the document. Okay. Because I want y'all to be able to see this while I read it. That's how important this is. Okay. All right. And I have two of them for y'all. Most of y'all are only going to care about one, but I love sharing information, so I'm going to give you both of them. Just bear with me. Okay, let me share my screen. All right. Can you see my screen, Ashley?
Yes.
Okay, so question. How can we explain Premier IV's model to individuals inquiring about how a nurse can own their own LLC providing medical services in Texas? Answer. This is straight from our lawyer. Similar to the analysis above, our nurses don't own the clinic. The nurses are service providers who contract with the PLLC, which is the doctor, to perform services. Just because these service providers have 100% ownership in their own LLC, which contracts with the clinic, rather than contracting with the clinic in their personal capacity, makes no functional difference. In both situations, the service provider is not the owner of the clinic. They are contracting with the clinic to perform medical services. Pursuant to said contract, these services are still supervised and reviewed by the licensed physician. Okay, remember CPOM doctrine exists to protect from the unlawful influence of non-medical personnel on the standard type of care being applied to patients. As long as the doctor remains free to exercise independent judgment over patient care, is not induced to anything otherwise, the threat of a violation is greatly reduced. Is everybody tracking? So this is
Yes.
why, now you can read this one. This is if you're non-medical. I just put that on there so y'all can see it. But this is why you can have an LLC. You can have a contract with a doctor with his PLLC. You can have your own name. You can have your own bank account. He doesn't have to be on it. You have your set monthly fee that you're going to pay. And then you have, obviously, you're going to order through our ordering portal because that's our business model. And you can operate as essentially your own business over here. Now, you have to do everything right. You have to be compliant. That's obvious. Like, I won't name names, but we just had to let a nurse go because she was not doing it the right way. And that's our job to do our due diligence to make sure you're being safe for your clients. And so, did that answer that question for you?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. And there's I will tell you this, there's lots of business models out there within this industry. And I'm going to be honest, most of them suck. Like, we're better. And that was our big goal, is compliance. And so we're going to continue to keep doing things. Like, I guarantee you, if the things that we're doing, most of the other companies aren't going to do, because most of them haven't spent the time. Though this industry is so much gray area in IV therapy, and they're starting to slowly crack down. There's some big stuff that happened in Mississippi. There's another big company that does this that they rebranded, but they got almost shut down. And it's because people are doing so many things not right. At the end of the day, you're performing medical services. And RNs, just like MPs, you got to have oversight, period. This is Texas. Iowa, go live in Iowa. You can be an MP and go operate by yourself. So, Don, don't go to Iowa, stay in Texas. But you can, so that is why you can do it this way. Okay. And eventually, a lot of these other companies that aren't, one or two things are going to happen. I hope they conform to these ways and do them the right way, or else they're going to end up, the medical board or somebody's going to come down on them, because they're starting to have issues here and there that they're picking up on and they're changing. That's why you're starting to see some different changes. That's why we don't mess with anything below an RN. Like, an RN is a sweet spot. Y'all have enough within your scope that you can do to make this work. It's really hard for anything below an RN to make this work. All right, what we got? I am going to mess up your name. How do you say your name?
Sybil.
Sybil. Okay, I was not going to say that. Sybil, what you got?
Hey, okay. I'm sorry. I accidentally got cut off from you guys, but I heard the tail end of it. The question was in reference to I think whether or not we would be our own entity, that kind of thing. And so my question is kind of along the same line, because I'd previously spoken to another company that had a different, business model.
Mhm.
And I was wondering, so we would set up an MSA agreement between the LLC and the PLLC. Is that correct?
Yeah, we
And
already have
then-
we have all the documentation. Yes, so we have
Okay.
everything to get you set up. You literally
Okay.
just have to have an LLC and an EIN
Yeah.
number.
Okay, so we wouldn't have to go out and get our own attorney and that kind
No.
of thing to.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Everything's
Yeah.
done. Like, our process, literally, it's all done. Like, you don't have to go do none of that. And I can tell you this.
Okay.
Just to show you, like, we have our medical team and our lawyers going through all of our documentation now. Like, we'll do that every so often. We have a consultant that actually works for Empower. He works for the DEA, who's on my team. He's constantly going through our documents and updating and changing things. He's the one that helps with a lot of these big issues, like the thing that's going on in Mississippi and some of these other ones. So we're staying up to date on all this stuff. When you start with us on the medical side of things, like, our onboarding process is pretty much automated. It's, you answer questions to make sure you don't have anything against your license, which we're going to verify too. And then we're going to walk you through you sign the contracts. And then you're going to get upload all your documentations, your different licensings, your BLS, those type things. And then you're going to get access to our portal. On the back end back here, we'll do the pharmacy paperwork for you, and we get that sent off, because we work with multiple pharmacies. And then from there, you got to do all your training in the portal. Okay. And then you got access to all the protocols and all the orders and everything. And then you got to go through all those to make sure if you have any questions. You get done with all your training. You learn how to use your EMR, how to use Qualify, how everything works. You're going to have a success call with one of our members on our team. They're going to walk you back through on a Zoom call through everything, because you're going to have questions. Okay.
Yeah.
Inside your training portal, which turns into your regular portal, She's going to show you how to do orders. You're going to have a communication. I'm doing all this because this is where it is on the screen. But the bottom right is where your communication portal is. When you have questions, you click on it, it routes you to the right person. Some things are more important than others, right? If it's a basic email or if it's a basic question about ordering, well, it's going to go whoever deals with our ordering. It's going to be an email. If it's a protocol question, it's going to be directed to whoever's on that day, our head nurse or an NP or the doctor, right? And if it's something that's going above their head, then they're going to go straight to the doctor, right? Emergency, you're going to use that phone number and you're going to call the doctor, right? And then we're going to do the proper paperwork for an after action and all those types of things. And so, and then after that, right, you got to get your insurance in there. You got to get that uploaded. And then once you get cleared from the pharmacy, you got everything done. Our side of stuff is done.
Okay.
Now your side is getting you should be doing this at the same time. Make sure y'all watch remember first 7 days when I started an IV therapy company, it's in the group. You should be getting all your social medias going. You should be posting, letting people know what you're doing. You need to be tagging everybody, all your friends. You need to get into groups, start messaging in groups, letting people know what you're doing. We're not trying to sell. We're trying to educate, right? And I will tell y'all, one of your biggest friends is going to be called Chat GPT. I see you smiling, Don. You know what that is? I mean, Ashley, you know what that is? Okay. If y'all don't know what that is, when you get off here, you Google Chat GPT. It's openai.com.
Yes, it's awesome.
Yes. You can literally you don't have to think. You just have to ask it a question. All your social media, done. You just got to copy and paste. It's so great to use. But okay. Vanessa, what you got?
Hi, on my side, I'm very interested in this, and I've been a nurse for 7 years in a surgical unit, and I plan to do it like on the side at first, obviously, like as a side hustle. And I've been telling all my coworkers about it at work. We work at a hospital here in Arlington. They've been there for like 20 plus years, most of the nurses that are there, so they're all over here telling me that I'm crazy, that doesn't work, that IV fluids or you can just drink instead of having to get IV. Like they're trying to make me not want to do this. So I wanted to ask you, like out of the 9 people that are here, let's say all of us sign up, like how many people usually have to cancel within like the first 3 months? And usually is the reason not advertising enough, or is it because of compliance?
That's a great.
I just want to know, like, out of how many people, like, do you have a lot of people that don't make it?
That is a great question. Okay. We started this business about 9 months ago. I have only lost 6 people. Only 6. We had one because she had a baby. She was overwhelmed. We had one because she had medical issues and she had to step away. Okay. We had one because she was moving out of state. We're only in Texas right now. And then I'll say the other 3 is directly related back to marketing. Like they started it and they were just thinking they were going to get all the business coming to them and they didn't do anything else. Like I can tell you right now, if you're not going to be doing the marketing side of things, you will not be successful at all. Like I'm going to be honest with everybody here. Like if you don't plan to post and market and get out there, don't do this. Go do IV Medics because they're going to take over half your product, but they're going to give you leads. I think it's IV Medics. I think that's their name. Now, so it really depends on what you want out of this. That's it. We're getting close to 100 nurses in Texas, and we've only lost 6. And I just told you the reasons why we've lost them. And I know all that because I'm the one that sees that every day. I deal with that every day. The biggest thing is going to be what Don told you, doing things the correct way, getting out there, marketing, getting systems in play. Because the number one thing is revenue, right? After compliance is revenue. We care about our patients. They're up there too. But without revenue, you don't have a business. Every one of you can do it. And every one of you have different things going on in your life. Let me give you an example. I have 2 kids. I have a 13-year-old boy. I have a 15-year-old girl. I've been married for 17 years now. I have these 3 businesses, plus we have 6 or 7 Airbnbs, plus my wife's in real estate. Plus my kids are in sport. Like we have a lot of stuff going on. Like we're busy, busy, busy. The way that we make it work is we set, number one, my wife's awesome. We're a great team. I love her. But we set up systems and processes. So like for these businesses, when you get started, you have to market hard and you always have to market. But just like Dawn was saying, it's a process, right? Dawn started, she went to all this stuff. She really promoted, she got people in. Well, then she started doing some memberships, right? Getting that reoccurring revenue. Well, what? She needs help. She's still working her other job. She's growing this thing. She needs help. She got people to work for her, which you can do it on a percentage where you don't have to pay them unless they're making you money. And then from there, now she's looking for a location. And then her next step after that is going to be to leave her job. Like you can do that. Anybody can do that. It may take, like Dawn, it may took her a total of 8 months. Ashley may take 4 months, right? Diane may take her 9 months. Everybody's different. It depends on how hard you're going to push and put into it. So I hope that helped, Vanessa. Like,
Yes, it did. Thank you. That's reassuring.
good. It should be like, because you can do it. Anybody can do it. It depends on how much you want to put into it and work. And y'all remember this right here. If you're ever sitting around not knowing what you're doing, that you have to always have action. Action. And I can tell you, if Dawn's not already doing it, which I don't know if she is. I know she does some social media advertising, paid advertising. Once you get to that point, that's where it's really at. When you can really get out there and start even doing more with it. Word of mouth, you can't beat word of mouth. Google's massive too. Yes. Okay, let me go back and get a couple questions. Okay. So we answered the attorney questions. We already have that done. You don't need that. And we get a lot of people who, like, I have a girl that's signing up. She just signed up. She spent $4,500 before she came to us. And I felt bad for her, but it's okay. It was a learning thing because she was going from lawyer to lawyer. I have not even going to tell you how much I've spent on lawyers. You have to make sure your lawyer knows the industry very well. I went through 5 lawyers before I found the one that knew the industry well. Like they don't all know it well. And it's just because there's a lot of uneducation in this space. Okay. Marcella, how long does it take to complete the course? You could have it done in a couple of days. Like if you could have it done in 1 day, this is not like each class is an hour. Most of these classes are a few minutes long. This is IV therapy. This is not, you've all done IV therapy. This is not like rocket science, right? How you pull the meds up, how you store the meds, how to give an IV. Like this is very basic stuff. So you could have it all done in a day. The thing you're going to want to spend more time on is the protocols. Like going through, we do have cheat sheets and stuff for you, but you still need to go through and make sure you understand them so you can ask the questions when you have questions. Okay. Okay. Do we offer training on aesthetics? If we want that, to add that, yes. So we do classes. Like we just did one in Dallas. It was a 2-day class. We do a discount for members. And also, since every one of you attended this, and I'm going to go over some specials that you get, and then I'll give you some. I'm not going to press you and say you got to sign up today. It's not how I work, but I'll have a deadline on it, and of course I'll be here because I know you're going to have more questions. So I'll go over that. Don, yeah, I think it is Lone Star. You're right, Don. Okay, this is a great by Don here. I'm going to say this as a Don quote. I will say that we all want instant gratification. I get it, but trust the process. Brandon will give you the tools to be successful. You just have to listen. That is 100% spot on. And the biggest thing for you all to remember, I'm going to put this in the chat. If you don't know something, get your butt on YouTube and Google because you can figure it out in about 5 minutes. Everything. All of it. It's all there. Okay. Okay. So those of you, so let me tell you what, for the aesthetics training, to finish that up, we don't have our dates out for our next class, but we will have them out soon. Now, for those of you that are on here today, just because you were all on here, and I want you to do me a favor, everybody right now, go put your name in the chat because I'm going to copy and paste that somewhere else. So go put your name in the chat for me. Even though I recorded this, I don't want to have to go back and do it. I want to just copy and paste it. What I'm going to do is we do offer on-site training. For some of you, may be convenient. I know one of you said you were in Arlington, and some of you, it may not be convenient. You know, I have my Amarillo location and I have my my Weatherford location. So I'm going to give you a deadline on when, if you sign up by, then I'm going to offer you a free days of training at my site. Now, what we do when you come in for training is you're going to get hands-on on all of it. Like we have you give one of our staff members an IV first. And as long as you don't suck, as long as you're good, then we let you do our clients too. Okay. And so you actually get to come in, you get to see the protocols, you get to go through them, you pull up the meds, you do all of it. The nurse says, hey, you're doing it, and you get to go walk through that whole process. So if you sign up by the deadline, which I'll give you here in a minute, you're going to get to do that training for free. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing, and I'm going to put this in the chat so y'all have it. Okay. The second thing, so on-site training. All right. Second thing, I'm going to give you $200 off your first order, or $200 credit on your first order, a couple orders, however you want to look at it. You're going to have a $200 credit on your order. Just as a thank you for coming here and being involved. We love doing these. We love learning about y'all, where you're at, answering these questions. It's fun. Fun. And so we love it. And so that's the next thing. The next thing, okay, one of the things that we do give all of our members is if you create a Canva account, we do have free marketing templates for you. Okay. Now you still got to go in there, edit it out, change out your logos and all that. I'm actually going to have my staff do your menu for you, right? Do your first menu for you, so you can just go take it wherever you want to print it out. They're going to do that, and they're going to do a flyer for you, so that you already have that ready. You just go take it and print it, and it's one less thing you got to worry about. So we're going to do your first marketing menu for you. You'll be involved a lot in that, because you got to tell us what services you want on there. Okay. It's a big deal. All right. Now, the last thing, I'm not going to toot my own horn, but I do know a lot about this industry. You're going to get a free one-on-one session with me. Right. And we're going to talk about several things, because I do a lot of coaching in this area. I coach with people all over the US. And depending on where you're at and when you want that call is going to determine on what we talk about. Okay. It may be in the beginning. Well, then we need to talk about the basic beginning things to get going. It's better for me to tell you, hey, here's what you need to do right now. Then you get through most of the training, and then we have it after you're kind of fresh through all that. Because my main goal, I'm not going to be so much as worried about compliance, because I know that you're going to be doing that through the program. But my goal is more so talking about, hey, let's talk about how you can get the most bang for your buck and how you can really work hard to grow your business from right off the bat. Because that's what I want. My goal for all of you is to be in the profit no later than month 2. That should be your goal. And it is doable. Like I told you, this is not a crazy expensive industry to get into. Okay. So those are the things that if you sign up now, I got to pick the deadline. I didn't pick the deadline before today. I'll put some pressure on you. I'm going to give you all 2 weeks. So you got plenty of time. So 2 weeks, that's the 22nd. And don't worry, if you're not ready by then, like don't be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose out on everything. It's okay. Like, we're still here to help you, be successful. My goal is to put a little fire under your butt to get you moving forward. Because most of the time when I do these and I talk to people, they've been thinking about it for a long time. They're nervous and scared. They're ready to take the next step. They just won't do it. Like, they need a kick in the ass. So there's your kick in the ass. I'm giving you 2 weeks, because that was pretty generous. So, okay, this has been fun. I've really enjoyed it. I want to know if anybody else has a question. I don't think I got them all. Anybody else want to step in, ask anything? I'm an open book. If you have any questions about my locations, if you want to ask Dawn a question, if you want to ask a question about Premier, get it out now, even if it's Ashley.
Do y'all give any tax advice?
Okay. Yes. So on the tax side, this is why it's really important to get your business bank account, because you want to have everything separate. I have 5 QuickBook accounts to stay organized. I keep it all separate. Okay. It's very important. You want to track everything, because every single thing that you do that's related to your business, you can write off. And so what I always tell people is go get you a business credit card after you open up your business, right? And you get your EIN, you start your business bank account. Then there's a lot of great beginner ones. MasterCard has some really, or not MasterCard, American Express. American Express has some great ones for starting businesses. Get you a business credit card. And if you can't get one right away and you need to run it through your business account, link it to QuickBooks or some other service so it all goes in there. And anything that you can relate, even if it's not necessarily with your business, but you can say, hey, I went to dinner with me and Ashley went to dinner. We talked about IV stuff. That's going to be a write-off, right? Then I'm going to put that in that category. There is so much you can relate to your business. Now, you don't have to charge taxes, not with this type of business. Now, if you do products, if you decide to sell shirts, cups, those, you got to do taxes, but not on a medical service. There's no taxes on this. Okay. And so, and I have tax reps if you need recommendations for taxes and all that, they're pretty affordable. But that's my biggest advice is everything from your membership sign up to all your inventory to tracking your mileage, getting an app and tracking your mileage. That is all so important to track. Most people don't take advantage of the tax benefits based on that. Does that help, Ashley? Okay, cool. All right. Who else? Who else? Awesome, Vanessa. You should be excited. Everyone should be. Who else? Who else? We got anybody else? Tanya, I know you're loud over there. You're at a party or something. You got any more questions? Throw them in the chat. Awesome. Yes. Be excited. Okay. One more thing I'm going to give you. Don't be giving this out to any strangers. That is my cell phone. Okay. So make sure you write that down. I think I put my email in here again. I'll do it again. Everybody, big thank you to Dawn for jumping on here. Dawn is awesome. I threw this on her like at probably 5 or 6 hours ago. I was like, hey, what are you doing later? I need you to jump on a Zoom with me. So, okay, there is that. And then one other thing I'm going to throw in here. This is the sign up link. So you all have it. Okay. I'll get notifications if you sign up. This has been great. Thank you for spending your Wednesday evening with me. If you think of questions afterwards, I'm sure you will. Just make sure to hit me up, right? You can email me. Get involved in our group if you're not in our group. Let me post that one more time. We do a lot. I do some different trainings in there. There's the group again. And then, like I said, Dawn is a great person. If you have more questions you think of, she put her website on there earlier. You can catch her in the group, shoot her a message. Other than that, thank you all for being here. Remember, whether you're going to go with us or you're going to go with somebody else, you can do it. Have the confidence. Be willing to put the work in to get where you want to be. Okay. And know that nobody's going to give you a handout. It's not just going to happen. Each one of you can do it if you want to do it. If you're not sure if you can do it, then you need to change your attitude or you don't need to do it. Does that make sense, everybody? But remember, to do the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, thinking we're going to get a different result. We've all heard that saying, right? That's 100% true. Don't expect your life to change if you're going to keep doing what you're doing. But don't be afraid of failure. We just fall forward when we fall. That's part of it. Got it? I'm going to hang out for about 5 minutes. So if you want to hang out, come off, chat with me, ask any questions. I'll be here. Otherwise, everybody have a great evening. Love you all. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Yep. See you, girl.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been awesome.
Yes, it was great having you on.
All right.
You still on here, Diana? You got any questions? Do you offer to do the MSO agreement? Hey, so Diana, with our program, we already have all the documentation done. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I was just wondering. My friend was asking me about that, and I was like, well, let me ask him because
Yeah,
I'm a
go
friend
ahead.
of mine. I'm partnering with a friend of mine, so we're just kind of looking around, and
Gotcha,
she was.
yeah. So here's the biggest thing y'all two need to do. Y'all looking at being partners?
Yes.
Okay, this is a great drill. I do this with everybody that I talk to that's going to be partners. Okay. First off, are you both RNs or you're an NP? Is she an RN?
She's an NP as well.
Oh, she's an NP as well. Okay, cool. So the first thing I tell everyone to do is what you and her need to do is you need to get a piece of paper and you need to both write down what you feel like your responsibilities should be and her responsibilities should be separately.
Oh, okay.
Then you come together and you show each other what you wrote. When you do any type of a partnership like this, you both have to be 100% on the same page if you don't want to have problems down the road. So that's the first thing. Yeah, that's the first thing I would do. The second thing I would do after that, after you both get clarity on, hey, look, this is okay. I understand that maybe you have the marketing, maybe she has like some type of client follow-up, or she's handling the tech side of the website, whatever it may be, right? You just want to lay all these things out. So you have very clear clarity. And then you need to get a contract with both of you two. A contract that's how your partnership's going to work. That's a big thing. Because if you want out or she wants out or you have a disagreement, if you don't have a contract in place, it's going to get messy down the road.
Oh, okay.
That's
So
really
then we would, yeah. So that would be separate from what y'all, separate from like the Premier IV, what y'all have to offer. That would be something that we would get on our own.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah. And if you need, like, I have plenty of lawyers. If you need one, it shouldn't be nothing crazy to do that. I mean, really, all you're saying is like, look, we're going to be doing this business together. These are her responsibilities. These are my responsibilities. This is the percent ownership. Like, are y'all planning to go 50-50 on it?
Yeah, that's what we were planning.
Yeah. So there's several things you got to figure out. You got to figure out financially, how's it going to work? Everything going to come into one account? Are you both going to start putting the same amount in there? How do you take money out? Like, you got to all be on the same page, because what you don't want is to not be on it. And then let's say you're like, oh, cool, I need to go buy something for the business, but it's really kind of for you. And you take this money out and she's upset. And I'm just giving you a crazy example, but being very clear on that, like how long till you're both going to take money out of it? How much is okay to take out of it? Like, what's the plan? Like, just thinking through some of those things so that you start your business with very clear clarity.
Okay.
You both know each other's your expectations for each other and yourself. And that when you start, there's no issues. Like, this is how we're doing it, period. Like, I give you a good example. When I started one of my businesses, it was like, hey, for the first 6 months, I'm not taking a dime. And the other person, I told them the same thing. Like, you're not taking a dime. That's part of it. Like, this is, we're going to use this to build our business. Then at 6 months, we had the agreement of this is what we were going to do. And then that's what we did. So same thing for you. It may be, hey, for our first 3 months, we don't take a penny, or however long you want. Like, we're not going to take time from this because we're going to grow it and we're going to reinvest all that money back into it. And that's totally up to you. I'm just giving you an example.
Yeah, that's a very good idea. I like that. I really like that.
And so, and then that just makes it easier for both of you, because you want to make sure you both have the same vision. Your vision may be totally different than what hers is. And if you don't figure that out now, like, it may not be a good fit, or it may be better for you to own the business and she just wants to work underneath you. I mean, I don't know her. So, I mean, that's totally for y'all both to figure out. But yeah, I think that would be great to give y'all some clarity. And then, like I said, if you need help on the lawyer side, I know a few that can help you. If you have a family friend or somebody that's like close to you, you probably get a really better deal. It's just not a crazy contract. It's a very simple, basic contract.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, if you don't mind, if you have any lawyer contacts, I'd love to, reach out to them and see, what they have to offer as far as just, getting a contract together for us. I'd appreciate that.
Yeah. Do me a favor. Text me to that number I sent you. Just say, please send lawyer, and then put your name.
Okay. All right. I'll do that.
Yeah. Any other questions?
No, that was it. Thank you so much for the insight. And, I appreciate your advice. Very good information. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And tell me again, where are you at? What city are you in?
Pearland, which is a suburb of Houston.
That's right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
it's funny, I've talked to, for whatever reason this past month, I talked to a lot of people in Houston. The great thing about Houston is there's so many people. Like there's just so much opportunity.
Yeah.
So much down there because I mean, number one, Houston's one of the most obese places in Texas.
Mhm.
And number two, there's just the volume of people that are there. There's no way that y'all have enough providers to even service that many people.
That's right. Yeah.
So there's just
No.
tons of business, like period.
That's right. That's why I want to, take advantage now and, get into this business pretty early.
Yeah. And I will tell you just one thing since you are an MP. Through the CMF group, I do want to say theirs is more like 800 in like 1700 range. So 8 to 900 for 1 year. I mean, for a part-time, and then 1700 for full-time.
Oh, okay.
That's their
Okay.
interest. Their MPs, obviously things are going to be a little more expensive. So,
Okay. And it's CMF Insurance Group. That's what.
yeah.
they're called?
I got you. I'll put it in the chat. cmfgroup.com. And then get in my Facebook group. And I have a video in there. I'll put it back in there tonight.
Okay.
You'll see it. It's a Vimeo video I made. I literally went through the process and showed you exactly how to go get a quote online. It's really simple.
Oh, okay. Okay, perfect. Let me make sure I have your number saved. 806-654-1048.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. All right. Perfect. All right. Thank you so much for your help. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. You have a great evening. Just holler back if you have any more questions, and I'll get you that contact sent.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yep, you're
Bye-bye.
welcome. All right. Bye.